This is my 1981 Pontiac FIREBIRD that I got for free for fixing a fuel leak on another car. Went up to Benton City, Washington, rescued it out of a field, brought it home, and got straight to work. And I got big plans for it. I plan to make it look like this.
Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange.
All right, let's get into it. All right, so we're going to pick up right where we left off in the last video, getting the frame and the firewall and stuff all cleaned up. So I'm going to come in here and get the steering column removed, or the steering shaft, and then I am actually going to remove the brake booster so I can get in there a little bit better. It'll make it a lot easier. And because I'm going to be replacing the subframe bushings on it, I want to actually get the top side of the frame that's against the floorboard all cleaned up as well. So I'm just going to undo those last 4 bolts back there and then wheel it out so I can get it all cleaned up and get the entire thing sprayed and protected with zero rust. So, all right, well, let's get the steering column off here and then the brake booster. All right, let's do it. All right, so we got the firewall stripped down, so now we're ready to come in here and get the frame removed. I'm going to undo the body bolts that hold the subframe to the body there, and then wheel it out forward. So let's get this thing undone and get it off so we can get it cleaned up. All right, so I got the subframe all removed, and now I can come in here and get the rest of it all cleaned up where I couldn't get to it. And you can see I'm going to be replacing the body bushing because these things are pretty well rotted out. I'm going to be replacing them with polyurethane bushings, and then when I do subframe connectors, if I have to change the back ones out to solid ones, I can do that later. But anyway, I'm going to come in here and get the steering box removed and the sway bar and a few other things, so and like the motor mounts and stuff, so I can get the rest of the frame all exposed, so I can get it all cleaned up. I'll probably end up removing all of the control arms and everything so I can get everything on the frame in there cleaned up and painted as well. So anyways, let's get this thing stripped down. All right, so I got the back of the frame all scraped down and got rid of the excess stuff. So now I'm going to come in here with the pressure washer and get it cleaned up so then we can come in and get all the rust and stuff stripped off. All right, let's do it. All right, so I got the frame all pressure washed up. I let it sit overnight so everything's nice and dry. Now there's no wetness on the inside of the frame or anything. So the next thing is to come in here and get the control arms and stuff removed so that when I go to sandblast, I can get behind that all cleaned up so that there's no spots of rust left at all. And I just wanted to show you guys real quick the condition of the old subframe bushings. They're completely toast. I'm going to be replacing those with polyurethane bushings. So anyways, let's come in here and get these control arms taken off, and then we'll get it all sandblasted up. All right, let's do it. All right, so I got it all tore down to the bare frame. Now I'm going to come in here and get a tarp laid down so that when I sandblast, I can reclaim most of the sand, as well as I'm going to cover over the Firebird because all of the spray that's going to come off, I don't want the sand getting all down in every little hole and then it being impossible to get out of there. So I'm going to get that covered up and get the tarp down, and then we'll start sandblasting this thing. All right, so I got the tarp all the way out and the sandblaster pulled out, so we're ready to come in here and get this thing cleaned up. So let's do it. All right, so it's the next day. Last night I ran out of sand right at the very end there, so I went ahead and finished up, cleaned up everything, refilled the sandblaster, and flipped the frame rail over so I could do the bottom side. So let's jump right back into it. Let's get this thing finished up so we can get shot with some paint. All right, so we got the frame all sandblasted. Now I need to come in here and get it all blown out so I can get this mess cleaned up. And I do need to make one modification to the frame on the transmission cross member. I was watching on Krusty's channel, and he does a second gen, and he does an LS swap, and he ends up actually moving the transmission cross member back one hole for it to line up with the mount. And he actually ends up leaving it with just one hole, or one bolt in there. And I don't want to do that since I have it out right now. I can actually secure it properly with 2 holes on each side. So I'm going to get that all drilled out so I can move that back one hole before I actually end up doing the LS swap later on. All right, let's get this mess cleaned up. Then we'll modify that one thing on the frame, and then it's ready to get some paint on it. All right, so I got the mess all cleaned up. Now I need to move the frame back over here so I can get that transmission mount moved back one hole, and then we get it shot with some paint. All right, so I've measured the holes and marked them and then drilled them out. I need to get a bigger step bit because that one only goes so big. But I drilled it all the way through so that it's marked on the other side. So I can get some paint on this side, let it dry overnight, and then when I flip it, then I'll worry about moving the cross member. So anyways, it's time to get some paint on it, so let's do it. All right, so we got the bottom side all sprayed with the Zero Rust. I'm gonna let that dry overnight, and then we'll do the other side tomorrow. So we'll see you guys in a second. All right, so it's actually 2 days later. I had to go help my dad yesterday all day, so missed out on a day working. So anyway, we're gonna get back into it. So now I need to remove the cross member for the transmission and move that back one hole, and then we can get it shot with some paint, and then we can move on to that firewall. All right, let's do it. All right, so I got the cross member off, and obviously I wasn't able to sandblast underneath of them, so I need to come in here and get the remnants of the stuff I wasn't able to blast off cleaned up. I'm going to use a wire wheel to do that so I don't make a mess again. Get the underside of the cross member itself cleaned up, then we'll relocate it and get it hit with some paint. All right, so we enlarged the holes and made it so we can move the transmission cross member back one hole. Anyways, another thing I didn't mention is when I flipped the frame over, I went ahead and wrapped the top of the jack stands with some rags so it won't scratch the painted surface. So anyway, let's get some paint on this thing, and we're gonna move on to doing the firewall while it's drying. All right, so we got the frame all in zero rust. I'm gonna let that dry for a little bit so I can at least touch it enough to move it out of the way so it can dry the rest of the way, so that when I'm working on the firewall, it's not flinging that stuff on the fresh paint. So in the meantime, while that is drying, I wanna ask you guys, I've been trying to come up with an idea for a name for the project or for the car, and I want you guys' take on it. Maybe one of you guys will have a better name than I do. But I was thinking, because it kind of has that black and white stormtrooper look, it can either get a name of something like Stormbird or something along the lines of that. I'm not a big Star Wars fan, so it doesn't have to be that at all. But the name that I've come up with that I like the most so far is, because it's a second gen, and I looked and I couldn't find anybody has used this name yet. So I was thinking something along the lines of second to none, because it's, you know, better than all the rest. It's, you know, won't come in second place. It'll be in first place, that kind of thing. So second to none. Not sure exactly how I'd write it out, but let me know you guys' thoughts on it. And then if somebody can come up with a better name for it than either one of those two, then I have a little prize for you guys that I will personally send out to whoever can come up with the best name. But I had ordered the decals for the side here. I ordered them in black, and the ones that they sent me came in orange and were way bigger than they're supposed to be. Let me grab one down here real quick. As you can see, that's not the size that's supposed to go there, as well as it came in bright orange. So it came with two, one for either side, but clearly they're not the ones that go here. So if somebody can come up with a better name, or a name that I like, and maybe we'll do like the top 5 names, and then we'll do a vote, and whichever one gets picked, if you came up with the name, I will personally send you guys out one of those. If there's 2 names, if it comes down to 2 names, then those last 2 people will each get one. But anyway, so let me know you guys' thoughts on name for the project. So like I said, I like second to none, or something along the lines of Stormbird or something like that, but second to none would be my first choice. But let me know you guys' thoughts. All right, let's let this thing dry a little bit, then we'll move it out of the way and we'll get working on the firewall. Oh, and one other thing, I also have an idea for some merch. I'm gonna put up some pictures of it right here. Let me know if this is something that you guys would be interested in, if you would wear it. And if so, then I'll start working on getting some merch made up and stuff for the project, so you guys can kind of get involved and help me fund the project. So anyways, let me know if you guys would be interested in any of these ideas on merch. So all right, let's get back into it. All right, so I got the Firebird all uncovered and blown off. I got the frame moved out in the yard so it can bake in the sun, and it's not gonna get any of this crap on it when I'm taking the wire wheel to it. So I need to come in here and I need to wire wheel all of this sealer that goes around where the AC box was at, get it all cleaned up and everything so it looks a lot nicer. And along the top here where all the seam sealer, or whatever this coating is they have on here, is all cracking and nasty, I'm gonna get that all ground off as well, and then reseal that. Get this thing all cleaned up and everything, so that when I paint this with the zero rust to match everything else, it'll be nice and clean and not look like that. So anyways, also down here where the hole on the passenger side floor pan is, it comes up to about here and then down here, but the seam where these 2 pieces come together are still perfect on the bottom. On the inside they look like crap. They got a lot of surface rust and stuff on them. But I'm going to be repairing that. You can see the hole right here, so I'll cut that out, and then along this part right here I'll take a wire wheel and clean that up, and then it's going to get seam sealer across the top of it anyway, as well as it'll get zero rust on it, some white zero rust to protect it. But I don't want to just cut that whole chunk out and have it look like it's been repaired from the bottom. So I'll cut out the part that's obviously Swiss cheese there, and then do repair on that. But I want to leave that bottom seam where they overlap each other intact, because they look really nice. So anyways, let's get in here with the wire wheel and get this thing all cleaned up. All right, so I got the top of the wiper cowl area here all cleaned up. So now I'm going to come in here and lay a tape line down. So when I run the seam sealer along here, it's a nice clean line, better than what the factory did. And then once that's all dry or whatever, then I can worry about getting the top of it painted here and finish getting the firewall cleaned up. There's areas where, because it was in the sun, it just kind of started to melt the stuff. So I have to wait for it to get cooler. So when I do that area, it'll actually come off and flake off rather than just turn it into sludge, basically. So, but most of the firewall is all cleaned up. So for now, we're going to work on getting the top of the wiper cowl all taped up so we can get the seam sealer on there. All right, let's do it. All right, so I got the seam sealer all laid down. I've been letting it dry for about 30 minutes now. Now I'm going to come in here and tape off everywhere that I don't want to get the black zero rust on. I'm not going to worry about taping up the windshield too much because I'm going to be replacing it. It's got a couple of little cracks and chips and stuff in it. And a brand new one for the thing that actually has a gray smoked tint at the top of it from Classic Industries. I want to say was 100 and some odd, around 200 bucks, something like that. So pretty good price. So I'm gonna be replacing that. So like I said, I'm just gonna tape it up a little bit. I'm not gonna worry about a little overspray getting on the bottom. That way the zero rust gets all up in here and everything. So anyways, let's get this thing taped off and then we'll get a shot with some zero rust. All right, so I'm about to put on the first light coat, so let's get it on there. All right, 20 minutes later, second coat. Let's do it. All right, 20 minutes later, third and final coat. Let's do it. All right, so I got the top of the wiper cowl all painted and everything. That needs to dry. So now I need to come in here since the sun is at the point where it's giving me some shade. There's some areas where this stuff was just baking in the sun, so it just kind of started to smear. So now that it's cold and everything, I can take the wire wheel to it and get it off there, but I don't want it ending up here. So I'm gonna take and run a tape line right along the front here and then tape like a piece of plastic or something over the top. So none of the stuff when I'm grinding it off with the wire wheel ends up going on top of that paint because it's not 100% dry yet. But I can't wait till tomorrow to do it because then it'll just be in the sun again and it'll just start smearing again. So just a couple little spots that did that, didn't do it anywhere else other than a couple spots. So let's get this stuff off of here, and then tomorrow we can work on getting it painted because I'm out of zero rust for the night. So let's get this stuff off of here and we'll be done for the night. All right, so I got the firewall all cleaned up, got all that sticky stuff off of there, so now it's nice and smooth, so it's ready for tomorrow for me to come in here and get it cleaned up, scuff it up with some Scotch-Brite and everything before I paint it, and then I can get the wires and stuff cleaned up, and like the heater core pipe that sticks way out here, this top one is really long because it has to reach through the AC box. If this heater core needs replaced, I'll be putting a new one in there, and I'll cut that one down too if it sticks out. I guess the one that's non-AC has probably got a shorter neck on it, but either way I can cut that down so it doesn't stick out as far for right now, and then I can get some other things cleaned up. So that's gonna be it for the night. We'll see you guys in a second. All right, so it's the next day, so we're gonna come in here, we're gonna get this firewall taken care of. We need to cut off that heater core pipe and then tape off a few things like the bulkhead connector and stuff like that, things that I don't want paint getting on. So, and then we're gonna get it all scuffed up and get it shot with some paint. All right, let's do it. All right, so I got the firewall all prepped and ready to go, so let's get some zero rust on this firewall. All right, so I got the first light coat on there. I'm gonna let that set up for about 20 minutes, then we're gonna get another coat on it. All right, so I'm about to put the third and final coat on. I had to wait for it to get in the shade a little bit because it was so hot that it was kind of drying just as I sprayed it on there. So now that it's been in the shade for a little bit and it's cooled off, let me get this third coat on here. All right, so we got the firewall painted up, and I think it came out really freaking nice. So we got a lot done in this episode. We got the frame all taken care of, the firewall and the wiper cowl and everything really nice looking. So anyway, make sure you guys stay tuned on the next one. We're going to work on getting that floor pan changed out and then start working on the interior. So I hope you guys like this one. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this one with your friends, and make sure you hit the bell notification so you get notified of all future episodes that I put out. All right, we'll see you guys next time.